learn that there's the ego's rendering of time, and there's the Holy Spirit's interpretation of time. They're completely different. And so we're going to be reading about that both. This is, so to speak, in two parts. We're going to do session 13.4 today. But interestingly enough, section 13.6 is also like a complementary material about time. So you'll want to join in the Saturday session if you're available, or catch that on YouTube, because both, and while these topics are always ones where students often blur over when we talk about time and eternity, know that the way to really get the bigger picture is to go through both this as well as 13.6. But we'll try to make it as clear as possible. There's a number of profound things which are very easy to understand. Hello and welcome to Miracles on High Plains. My name is Jonica, and our reader for this session is Atisha.
And now the reason why you are afraid of this course should be apparent. For this is a course on love, because it is about you. You have been told that your function in this world is healing, and your function in heaven is creating. The ego teaches that your function on earth is destruction, and you have no function at all in heaven. It would thus destroy you here and bury you here, leaving you no inheritance except the dust out of which it thinks you were made. As long as it is reasonably satisfied with you, as its reasoning goes, it offers you oblivion. When it becomes overtly savage, it offers you hell.
Mhm. Well, those are two different perspectives on our function. So the Holy Spirit says we have a function here in this world of healing, and once we have healed, our function in heaven is creating. So this will transition into our experience of time in just a moment. Um, and so, what is the real message here? The reason why you are afraid of A Course in Miracles is because of this confusion about our function. What are we doing here in this world? What is our purpose? This used to be commonly phrased as, what is the meaning of life? Or what is the meaning of your life? And so, if there's confusion around those issues, then that confusion will transfer over into our confusion about a whole variety of things, including how do we use our time? What is our role, our relationship to time? And so we have to become clear. In order to become clear here, just know Holy Spirit has a plan for healing in this world. And beyond this world, there's a plan for us to be returned to our original function, which is one of creation.
Yet neither oblivion nor hell is as unacceptable to you as heaven. Your definition of heaven is hell and oblivion, and the real heaven is the greatest threat you think you could experience. For hell and oblivion are ideas that you made up, and you are bent on demonstrating their reality to establish yours. If their reality is questioned, you believe that yours is, for you believe that a tax is your reality and that your destruction is the final proof that you were right. Under the circumstances, would it not be more desirable to have been wrong, even apart from the fact that you were wrong? While it could perhaps be argued that death suggests there was life, no one would claim that it proves there is life. Even the past life that death might indicate could only have been futile if it must come to this, and needs this to prove that it was at all. You question heaven, but you do not question this. Yet you could heal and be healed if you did question it. And even though you know not heaven, might it not be more desirable than death? You have been as selective in your questioning as in your perception. An open mind is more honest than this.
Mhm. And so I'll suggest our key takeaway from all of what was just said is that we should keep an open mind. An honest mind is open to asking questions that a closed mind would not even want to hear or consider. And so a mind that is learning and growing and healing is willing to question long held assumptions, traditions, beliefs. And because the commitment, honesty requires a commitment to the truth. And so this will carry us forward as we begin to look at time, because it should be, what is it? It's an assumption on my part that every one of us has already a strong belief about time. We've already drawn certain conclusions. We may not be able to articulate them real well, but we've already kind of adjusted ourselves to some kind of average, common view about time. And in just a moment, we're going to question all those things. Heidi?
I I feel that by having to talk about time and guilt and shame and bringing things to light and um, everything that comes from our ego is made up, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask the Holy Spirit to help us embrace and love our ego and just kill our ego with kindness instead of talking about all this other stuff that our ego really wants us to talk about because it confuses us? Why
Mm-hmm.
not just kill our ego with kindness
Mm-hmm.
and love it?
Yeah. So if we substituted the word ego, if we substituted the word cancer or radiation, you would say, oh, we can't make friends with that. We don't want to embrace our cancer and learn to keep it in our body and make it welcome. So, what you just suggested, Heidi, is exactly one of the sophistries that the ego will try. The ego wants you to think of it as your best friend, as one that you can learn to live with and adjust yourself to. And so, what you suggested, Heidi, is not uncommon. It's often voiced, but this program will expose in great depth what the ego is all about. And when it does that, you'll realize the ego is murderous and unreliable in every respect. The ego is not your friend. and wants you dead, and therefore there's nothing that we really can do. The reformation is not possible, according to the teachings of Course in Miracles.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so and here's another idea that will come up, is it's the notion that the ideas that are born in your own mind, your own constructions, there's a theory about education called constructionism, where we construct our concepts of reality and our ideas and our language. The ideas that are born in your own mind are ones you readily accept and are treasure and willing to keep. But an idea that is not born in your own mind, that comes from somewhere else, that's where we take pause and oftentimes become defensive or closed-minded and resistive to. And so they say that that's true with respect to oblivion and death. Those ideas born in our mind, we feel very certain of, but the idea of heaven, the real heaven or paradise, is thought to be, not our own idea, and is therefore kept perhaps viewed with some caution or hesitation. And so we'll see that applies to our concept of time as well. These are not, there will be ego ideas born in your own mind that you find perfectly acceptable. And there will be Holy Spirit concepts of time that you really have to adjust yourself to.
The ego has a strange notion of time. And it is with this notion that your questioning might well begin. The ego invests heavily in the past, and in the end believes that the past is the only aspect of time that is meaningful. Remember that its emphasis on guilt enables it to ensure its continuity by making the future like the past, and thus avoiding the present. By the notion of paying for the past in the future, the past becomes the determiner of the future, making them continuous without an intervening present. For the ego regards the present only as a brief transition to the future, in which it brings the past to the future by interpreting the present in past terms.
Mm-hmm. So we really, it suggests that this is where we begin our questioning around the ego's notions. So this should be somewhat familiar, not the description, but in your own perceptual system of preoccupation, heavy investment in memories of the past, finding one's identity and one's self-concept based on the past, your story of origin, your story of trauma, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the ego believes the past is the only aspect of time that is meaningful. Okay, so right there, very easy to understand where the ego stands on it. And we know that guilt is intimately associated with the ego's recall of that past. It's always looking to identify where the guilt occurred in the past. And we also know that while the future hasn't occurred, the ego will forecast the future to be similar to the past. And thus, it skips over the present. It says here, the notion of paying for the past and the future. This is the debt and guilt carried on over from the past, is the ego asserts, is then that guilt transfers over into the future. This is oftentimes referred to as bad karma. I've accumulated bad karma from the past and I have to pay it off in the future notions. So if we were to diagram this somewhat, you have to work with me here. It looked a bit like this: an all important past whose nature transfers over into the future, and the present is very small. It's, in fact, in the ego's terms, is skipped over. Heather?
I just love this. It's just so clear to me that the ego's greatest fear is the present because it doesn't have any material there. So that's why like all the Eastern teachings and everything are about learning how to be in the present, be in the now, because that's the only place where we're really safe from the ego's attack, because it doesn't have anything to offer the present. It wants us to pretend we don't even have it. And I just love that slow down and stay in the present is my safe place.
Yes. Yes. And in miracle teachings, we will talk about the holy instant, the holy encounter, the miracle, the holy relationship. All of that happens in the present. And so what we're talking about right here is the foundation framework for understanding where the miracles occur, where the holy instant occurs. It's right in the present. So this is not a new concept with the Course in Miracles. What is perhaps more new is the emphasis how the ego, contrasting the spiritual teachings with how the ego looks at it. Heavy, and the only aspect of time that is meaningful to the ego is that of the past.
Now has no meaning to the ego. The present merely reminds it of past hurts, and it reacts to the present as if it were the past. The ego cannot tolerate release from the past, and although the past is over, the ego tries to preserve its image by responding as if it were present. It dictates your reactions to those you meet in the present from a past reference point, obscuring their present reality. In effect, if you follow the ego's dictates, you will react to your brother as though he were someone else, and this will surely prevent you from recognizing him as he is. And you will receive messages from him out of your own past because by making it real in the present, you are forbidding yourself to let it go. You thus deny yourself the message of release that every brother offers you now.
Mm-hmm. This is exactly where we want to be in the recognition of these matters. For one, the Course talks, it refers here to the message of release, and it is referred to all over Course in Miracles as the release. And you might say, what do I mean? The release from what? Well, here it's framed as the release from the past. And what we mean by that is the belief that the past is dictating the present moment and that we're captive somehow to the past. Well, this is more than just theory, for you and I have been practicing this, letting the past dictate our present moment, and it shows up in relationships. It shows up. So if you had a very bad experience with someone a month ago and you haven't seen them since then, and then all of a sudden there they are, that experience from the past is going to jump into your mind. And at some level, now, if you're working with miracles, you might really keep your balance and stay present. But if you're unconscious, your mind could easily wander into resentment and grievances and guilt. And so, what if most people, most of the time, were reacting to others according to what had already occurred in the past? This is my supposition. That would be you meet in the present from a past reference point, meaning the guilt, judgment, grievances, resentments from the past wind up obscuring your perception of them in the present. In effect, you're following the ego's dictates and you'll react to them. Now, we're about to touch on something that is very psychological. You will react to your brother as though he were someone else. We will label that someone else as a shadow figure. And it's easy to understand. All your memories of a person linger in your mind as representations of that person. It's not the actual person, it's your memories, your impressions of that person. Those become shadow figures in your mind. And what the Course is saying is if the untrained mind, when you encounter that person, you react to the shadow figure as if that were the person you're dealing with. You kind of project your shadow figure onto the person. And so you'll receive messages from him out of your own past because and it's really about an unforgiveness. You're not letting go of what you already have judged from the past. If you don't let that go, then you're forbidding yourself to let it go. This is the opposite of being released from the past. This is being a hostage, or a better term, prisoner to the past. And what we're asserting here is this happens frequently in human experience until such time as we learn to practice forgiveness. So the other thing is, so that's the ego's reference point, is a past, views the present from a past reference point. We will come to find that the Holy Spirit provides a different reference point, a reference point that is beyond delusions. The best outcome you could have from this is to be able to access more easily the Holy Spirit's reference point. It's already a given that you've experienced the ego's reference point of bringing the past into the present moment and being held hostage to the past. But what the healing is to acquire the Holy Spirit's reference point beyond delusions, which we will go into.
The shadowy figures from the past are precisely what you must escape. They are not real and have no hold over you unless you bring them with you. They carry the spots of pain in your mind, directing you to attack in the present in retaliation for a past that is no more. And this decision is one of future pain. Unless you learn that past pain is an illusion, you are choosing a future of illusions and losing the many opportunities you could find for release in the present. The ego would preserve your nightmares and prevent you from awakening and understanding they are past.
Mm-hmm. So I do believe A Course in Miracles is very clear and straightforward. The shadowy figures from the past are precisely what you must escape from. Okay, that's where the work is. And let's just, if you will, take it as a given that this is the way the ego operates. And therefore, when you're in the ego point of view, this is operating in your own life. That these images in your mind, they're really memories, and especially the ones where you are keeping score of where you were, your grievances, your complaints, your judgments. Those will, you can be sure they'll come up when you encounter someone, or even you don't have to be in the same room with that person. You can be sitting by yourself and think of that person, and these images will arise in one's mind. And this is where the spots of pain are in your mind, because we said these are grievances and complaints and resentments, judgments, and that you're going to, at some level, you're resent all of that and want to direct some kind of response to that. We'll call it a retaliation. And so the only way we can become free is to recognize these things, learn that past pain is not a current reality. Okay, so somebody wants to enter our room here now. I'm going to pass on that. And instead, David, you had your comment.
I tell you what, this is speaking to me so loudly and so clearly that I just wanted to share just my experience. And in my experience with this, what I'm recognizing is the only person or thing that I bring from the past that haunts me in the present is my judgments of myself. And one of the ways that I do it is that I look at the stock market every day and I see the mistakes that I've made, and I beat myself up over it because I project the future that could have been, and I take the past that was and the mistakes that I made, and I just relentlessly create a hell for myself. Even though my present is just fine, I insist on dragging my self-perceived errors of the past with me like the ball and chain, and bring it into the future, bring it into the present, and doesn't even allow me to enjoy the moment that I have, the moment that really is, the only moment that is. And this course really helps me to look at that. And this particular chapter and the things that we're reading today are speaking to me. The shadowy figure from my past is me, my ego, the David that I attack. I don't know. That's it.
Thank you, brother. It's true. The shadowy figures are not real. These are spots of pain in our own mind. And so this is where a commitment to healing really is necessary, to be willing to do what it takes. We've been given instruction to do what it takes to heal from this. Tisha?
The biggest spot of pain, the most tender spot of pain in my mind is what David just mentioned, anything related to if I had made a different decision in the past, I could have prevented myself from what I'm imagining as present pain. And and then I think this is like a sort of psychological, physiological thing. Then the ruminating. And if it becomes a thing that is causing me sort of like persistent pain, then the rumination happens, and then it's like wheels stuck in mud. And so anything that's within that realm, that if I had done something different, my present wouldn't be as uncomfortable. I have done that so much that it's like the grooves need to be filled in, but they're not. The grooves are there, and as soon as that thing happens, then I start like the process of ruminating. So really quickly, I took my car to the dealership to get it repaired. Something told me to take it to another guy. The dealer, of course, charged me 6 times the amount. And the whole day Friday, beat myself up all day. Why didn't I listen to myself? Why didn't I take it to that other guy? And I had to really pray and wrench myself out of that present pain of rumination. So this is also really speaking to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Atisha. There's something here for us all to learn from.
Would you recognize a holy encounter if you are merely perceiving it as a meeting with your own past? For you would be meeting no one, and the sharing of salvation, which makes the encounter holy, would be excluded from your sight. The Holy Spirit teaches that you always meet yourself, and the encounter is holy because you are. The ego teaches that you always encounter your past, and because your dreams were not holy, the future cannot be, and the present is without meaning.
Mm-hmm. So we did acknowledge that this impacts how we interact in our relationships. And it's clear from what was just said that when we're perceiving from the past, it acts as an obstacle, a barrier to our having a holy encounter. Why? Because we've made a poor choice in holding on to the past. And so, two very different points of view here. The ego wants you to continue to nurture those past judgments, past grievances, past guilt, and keep it alive. And the Holy Spirit dismisses all of that as not meaningful content. It is actually, this is Jonica's point of view, it's beneath us to be living in the past when a holy encounter is available to us in the present. I mean, which one is going to be in your best interest, your best good? And so the Holy Spirit would have you, this is part of what I'll call the technique, although the Course doesn't use that term, is you would glance into your inner truth and recognize the light that is there, and that then know that in the person you're encountering carries that same light. And so you're always really meeting yourself. If you glance at the light within, then you will encounter the light without. However, if you glance at the shadowy figures within, then you will encounter the shadowy figures without. This is the law of perception. And so it really is about mind training and focus, and also about how your attention in the moment is given to seeking for the truth. Or what I did for so many years, I would just show up and go along with whatever happened. And that was you, and that got me nowhere. So seeking for the truth, being determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently. Susie?
I mean, the Course teaches us that whenever we're suffering, anxious, ruminating, thinking excessively, obsessively, we're in our ego. And I've got to turn to the Holy Spirit and acknowledge that that's where I am and ask for help. And I talked yesterday about, the ego being so stubborn, and, you also talked about, Jonica, like the Course encourages us, tells us to look deeply into what's going on, right? But the ego, and so you talked about that, some people say it's spiritual bypass. No, the Course isn't. The ego likes to do that. The ego likes to say, oh no, it's not bothering me that the stock market is down today. It's really not bothering me. But if I'm not honest that it really is, and then turn to the Holy Spirit and ask for help, I am guaranteed the same future, because I'm dragging my past with me right into the future. But the Holy Spirit is there to help. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie. It really is like a ball and chain. Do you want to drag the ball and chain into your future or be released?
It is evident that the Holy Spirit's perception of time is the exact opposite of the ego's. The reason is equally clear, for they perceive the goal of time as diametrically opposed. The Holy Spirit interprets time's purpose as rendering the need for time unnecessary. He regards the function of time as temporary, serving only his teaching function, which is temporary by definition. His emphasis is therefore on the only aspect of time that can extend to the infinite. For now is the closest approximation of eternity that this world offers. It is in the reality of now, without past or future, that the beginning of the appreciation of eternity lies. For only now is here, and only now presents the opportunities for the holy encounters in which salvation can be found.
So this could be one of the most profound statements we'll read in this session. But before we get into that, let's just review real quickly that to the Holy Spirit, time is for healing by forgiveness. And so, and healing by forgiveness only is a temporary thing. And once we heal, that's done with. So Holy Spirit regards this healing by forgiveness in time as temporary. And we want to not delay, but we want to move along our healing. So that we've said before. What is really extraordinary here is this new reference point beyond illusions right here. The Holy Spirit emphasizes the only aspect of time is the now. And that is not eternity, but it's the closest approximation to eternity. So hold on to that thought. We'll come back to that. So that's where we want to be, right? We want to be close to eternity because, and in the Holy Spirit's mind, the past and the future are of no concern. what is matters is what can be done, decided, the holy encounters, the holy instance of right now. This is view it as the first step into eternity. Maybe that's not the right word, the beginning of appreciating where eternity is. So we're learning here. We don't have this eternity thing down, but we know where to find it now. It's in the now. It's where our beginning and closest approach to eternity is. If we were to diagram this, we might do it. You have to give me some freedom here, but it might look a bit like this, where the present means everything. All the holy encounters, all the healing, all the miracles are possible right in the present, and the past and future are little. It doesn't mean that you've forgotten about all the past. It just means that it doesn't carry the meaning to you. So if somebody wronged you in the past, it doesn't mean what the ego wants to make it into. So it's a new reference point beyond illusions. And this is, let me just be explicit here and go out on a limb and say, this is the only place you could be happy. This is the only place you can be free. This is the only place where you can know yourself. This is the only place where you can know anything. This is the place where you are truly alive. Everywhere else is an image or a shadowy image of what was or what you think might be. And so this reference point is what the Holy Spirit is trying to teach us. We don't have, this doesn't mean that instantaneously we get it 100%. What it means is now we know where it appears. Now we know where to look. And we, more importantly, we know where to divest our attentions. Atisha used the term ruminating. We know that that's not a good investment. David talked about regretting and what could, we know that those investments are poor investments of our faith and our attention.
The ego, on the other hand, regards the function of time as one of extending itself in place of eternity. For like the Holy Spirit, the ego interprets the goal of time as its own. The continuity of past and future under its direction is the only purpose the ego perceives in time, and it closes over the present so that no gap in its own continuity can occur. Its continuity then would keep you in time, while the Holy Spirit would release you from it. It is his interpretation of the means of salvation that you must learn to accept, if you would share his goal of salvation for you.
Mm-hmm. And I did not diagram it because it just occurred to me as Atisha was reading. But this is two different timelines. Timelines. There are two different reference points. One is being on a timeline where the ego's continuity is maintained. It's the continuity of past and future under the ego's direction. Think of that as a horizontal line that goes on and on and on and on beyond, far beyond the eye can see. The other reference point is vertical. It intersects the horizontal line in the present moment. And it's a reference point that has continuity to eternity. Now, I know that's an abstraction. What we're saying is that other reference point brings your awareness into those relationships, those principles, laws of creation, like the holy encounter, the miracle, the holy instant, which align you with the plan of eternity, that's where you want to be. And now that you know that it's not found on the horizontal timeline, you need not continue to spend a lot of time forecasting your future or regretting your past. Instead, know that your investment of your faith and belief can be found in the present moment, where the principles of this program, the principles the Holy Spirit teaches, are available to you. Matter of fact, that's the only place, we read the 50 principles of miracles at the beginning. Where are they available? Only in the present. Only in the present. Heather?
Yeah, I just loved Atisha's word of, ruminations, and it closes over the present. That's the function of ruminations, is to close over the present, so there's no gap. And so that continues to keep us in that loop of ruminating over and over and over and over, so that it keeps us away from the whole vertical idea that there's something besides the past and the future.
Yeah. And we submit that everybody knows exactly what Atisha and Heather are talking about. We've all been there. We all have experiences there, and therefore you know what it feels like. You know what kind of results you get from that experience.
You too will interpret the function of time as you interpret yours. If you accept your function in the world of time as one of healing, you will emphasize only the aspect of time in which healing can occur. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. It must be accomplished in the present to release the future. This interpretation ties the future to the present and extends the present rather than the past. But if you interpret your function as destruction, you will lose sight of the present and hold on to the past to ensure a destructive future. And time will be as you interpret it, for of itself it is nothing.
That's the final line in this section. What a powerful line. Time will be according to your interpretation, because it has no meaning in and of itself. It's what you do with it. So next time someone asks you, what is the meaning of your life? You could say, it's the meaning I choose to give it. And I'm choosing to give it the meanings that are congruent with the Holy Spirit. So we're circling back now to the very first paragraph, which is about what is the Holy Spirit's view of your function to heal through forgiveness and time, and then to create an eternity. And so the function that you view for yourself is the function that you will view time to have. If you view yourself as here to forgive and to heal, then time will be used to forgive and to heal. And obviously there's an analog to that on the ego side, which we don't have to go into. There's another point before we summarize, is that about the one statement they made about the future here. And the word, as Atisha was reading, came to me, born again. If we are released from the past and awakened and understanding healing in the present, then that's a transition, an inflection point. Remember this reference point beyond illusions, where we're no longer laboring along the dry road of time, but we're now engaged with the principles of miracles, principles of eternity. That interpretation ties the future to the present to have a new perception, a new vision of the possibilities of the future. It means that we're free of looping back to the past again and again and again and again. Time will be as you interpret it and you interpret it according to the function that you view yourself as having here in this world. So let's go over a review of some of the ideas. By the way, Ryan and Lindsay, we do start at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Sorry, my friends, if that wasn't clear from before. 7 p.m. on Monday and 6 p.m. on Sunday. So what we saw is, again, ego's got its own teaching system about time and focuses all its attention on the past as meaningful. And it has a notion of accumulating pain and guilt and regrets and grievances and judgments from the past. I call it baggage. You can think of it like a ball and chain of the past. And the ego says that you have to pay for that. You have to pay for all that. And as a result of your debt from the past, this is a lie, of course, but ego teaching, the past becomes the determiner of your future because you bring your debts forward. And that's a pretty bleak outlook. From the Holy Spirit's perspective, the opposite is true. Time does have a purpose, and it's for healing by forgiveness. You are a vital aspect of God's plan for healing by forgiveness. And so, but you have to choose to accept it or not. And by accepting your function in the world as healing, then you bring your attention to healing. As a practical matter, before you walk into any group activity or even meet another person, remind yourself of your function. I'm here to heal and help others to heal. That's what this encounter I'm about to have is about. And if we forget, we'll react to our brothers as though they were from our past, and our shadow figures will come to mind. And this is exactly, the Course teaches, what we must escape from, reacting to others and to ourselves as if we were prisoners of our past. Instead, the opposite, the Holy Spirit teaches, when you meet someone, you always meet the level of consciousness in which you see yourself. If you see yourself as here to heal, ready for a miracle, then you will meet the other in that light. If you have something that disguises itself as a neutral thought, because we know there's no neutral thoughts, or you have no thought at all, idle thoughts, then you will encounter your shadowy figures from the past. And so the simple lesson is that the present moment presents the opportunities for holy encounters. All salvation is found in the present moment. All miracles, all the principles of miracles, this entire program is accessed through the reference point beyond illusions, which is in the holy now. It's the reality of now that is the beginning not the completion, but the beginning of your appreciation of eternity. It's the closest that we can come to eternity in this world. So there's so much to learn. I think that this reading that we did today is fundamental to being released from the ruminations, the guilt, the regrets, the grievances that are in the past. Nobody wants to stare out into the ocean blindly. This was symbolism used for postmodernism, for nihilism or meaninglessness, to be doing nothing useful. And so what we will do, again, I will emphasize that the material that we'll cover this Monday, chapter 13.6, will complement and greatly enhance all that we covered today. But do remember there's a reference point beyond illusions, and you can access that. The Holy Spirit is continuously ministering to make this vantage point or perceptual point available to us. And from that point, all of past is no longer, meaning is not found there. And so we're encouraged to seek this place and find it, for this is where love is, and this is where you will become free. So that's all that we are going to be reading today. I think that is so amazing, and you might want to watch it again on video, or at least read the highlights in your own book again, so that these things are not quickly forgotten, but so that they solidify your learning and prepare you for what's to follow in the next few days. So thank you all for your comments. This is a privilege to be able to go on this journey together. Thank you, Atisha, for your reading. Thank you all for your attention. Ryan and Lindsay, if you could hang on for a few minutes. I need to chat with you a second, and I bid you all namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks,
Thanks, Atisha.
Namaste. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Peace and love.
Hey, Janica.
Yeah, hey.
We were late. I thought it was 7.
Yeah, 7 on Monday as a work day, 6 on Sunday. I tell you, I have to remind myself constantly. Which one? But I'm so glad to see you again. And I actually had another I was actually yesterday, on behalf of another person, was looking for the meeting information for Mary Scott and Adrian's meeting. Is that something you're familiar with, that you know about?
Yeah, I posted the link in the chat.
Oh.
Someone else asked while you were talking. Or no, well, they sent a direct message to me and asked.
Oh, maybe it was a direct message. Right. I don't see those.
Right.
Was that from Heidi?
That one is a meetup page, and it's literally, you go on it and the description is
So, can you paste that in the chat again this time publicly? Is that hard to do? Because literally I was just looking for it yesterday. Isn't that synchronistic that we're talking about it less than 24 hours later?
Is it showing you it now?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got it. Okay, for some reason, my meetup searching was unsuccessful, but there it is. So we got it now.
It's kind of odd how certain searches and Meetup doesn't really show you certain things, but in a way, that's how I found your group. I was like, why is it showing me stuff in Florida?
Oh.
So it's kind of like a blessing, and maybe, you know, sometimes not working too well.
Because I was searching for a group with the word miracles in Chapel Hill, and anyway, that's another issue. That's meetups. Something they's not working right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Could I ask a quick question?
This was an amazing session that we just had. So, I hope you guys, we have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pull that up because is it going to be posted right away?
Within 20 minutes, because it's got a little post-processing to do where they clean it up.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but we're here tomorrow at 7.
Great. We plan on coming so far.
And you guys maybe are in touch with some of the other people up in Chapel Hill?
Yeah, we kind of went away from that group, but we know people in it.
But you guys are in Raleigh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to see you. And I'm glad that you found us on Meetup through whatever quirky methods are working there. And let's connect again.
Okay. We will.
All right. Bless you guys.
Take care.
All right. Good night.
Good night.